My girlfriend said, "You're too emotionally cold." I said, "You'll miss the warmth someday." When she came back crying months later, I introduced her to the woman who taught me to feel again. Her smile faded instantly. I, 61 male, own a specialty printing and bookbinding shop. It's quiet work, precise work. It's been my life for 40 years. My first wife, Eleanor, and I built it together. She was the artist, I was the craftsman. She passed away from cancer 5 years ago. I thought that part of my life was just over. About 2 years ago, I met Corinne, 49. She was bright, loud, a force of nature. She's a personal coach, an energy strategist, whatever that means. She moved into my house, the house Eleanor and I designed, about a year ago. I thought the contrast was good for me. She was always trying to pull me out of my shell. But pulling me out started to feel a lot like criticizing my entire personality. "Arthur, you're just emotionally cold," she'd say, usually after I didn't want to go to some networking mixer for her wellness pyramid. "You're living in the past. You're unavailable." The past she met was Eleanor. The flashpoint was always the painting. Eleanor was a talented watercolorist. In our living room, over the fireplace, hangs a small, quiet landscape she painted of the woods behind our first home. It's maybe 12 by 18 inches. It's not a masterpiece, but it's her. It's calm. Corinne hated it. "It's just so gray, Arthur," she'd complain. "It's morbid. It holds stagnant energy. We should put up something vibrant, something passionate." She'd found a giant 5-foot canvas of what looked like an orange and red paint explosion, done by a vibrational artist she followed. It cost more than my first car. Last Tuesday, we had the final conversation. "I just don't think you're capable of real passion, Arthur," she said, after I declined again to redecorate the living room. "You're stuck. You're cold. It's like living with a ghost. I need more. I need fire." I looked at her. I looked at the painting, and I just felt tired. The pressure to be someone I'm not, to perform passion for her, it was exhausting. "This isn't coldness, Corinne," I said, my voice quiet. "This is just me. This is my home. I'm sorry it's not enough for you, but you'll miss the warmth someday. This is the warmth. You just don't know how to look for it." She scoffed. "Warmth? This is a museum, Arthur. I'm done." She packed her bags that night. It was fast, mostly clothes, her laptop, and an entire carry-on bag full of healing crystals. She was out the door in 2 hours. "Don't bother calling," she said at the door, pulling her rolling suitcase. "I'm going to find someone who's actually alive." She left. I stood in the quiet house. I felt a deep, sharp pang of something. Failure? Sadness? Yeah. But underneath it all, there was a different, stronger feeling. Relief. The constant, buzzing need to perform was gone. I felt guilty for feeling it, but the relief was overwhelming. I'm a practical man. I work with tangible things. My response wasn't passionate. It was methodical. That night, I changed the code on the security gate, changed the code on the garage door, changed the code on the house alarm, sent a polite, cold email to my attorney informing him that my cohabitation agreement with Miss Corinne was terminated as she had vacated the premises of her own volition. Called my assistant, Nancy, who has run my shop's front office in my life for 30 years. "Nancy, Corinne has moved out. We'll need to remove her from the company's private health plan extension. Please handle the paperwork." Then I made myself a cup of tea, sat in my armchair, and looked at Eleanor's painting. The house was quiet. It was finally, peacefully warm. Update 1. It's been about a month. The silence has been productive. I've been sorting through old projects, and it's led me to a new one. The local historical society has a collection of 19th century ledgers they need restored and rebound. It's delicate, massive work. I don't do framing, so I took the covers, which had some damaged artwork, to a specialist shop I've worked with before. It's run by a woman named Camila, 58. She's a master framer. Her husband, I knew, had passed away a few years before Eleanor. We'd always had a respectful professional relationship. We started talking over the ledgers, and it was easy. "The paper is brittle, but the pigment is good," she said, looking at a faded floral design. "It's like people, it just needs a little support. Not a whole new identity." I looked at her. That's a good way of putting it. We had coffee. We talked about pigment and paper and adhesives. Then we talked about grief. About how it's not a process you get through, but a new room you learn to live in. It was the first real conversation I'd had about it in 5 years. It wasn't, fire. It was water, clear and deep. The entitlement, meanwhile, had started to bubble up from Corinne's side. After 2 weeks of silence, the checking in text started. Hey, just seeing if you're okay. You're probably really lonely. I'm worried about you. Hope you're remembering to eat. I didn't respond. I'm cold, remember? Then last Wednesday, I get a call. Not from Corinne, from her best friend, Beth. Arthur, she said, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. It's Beth. Corinne is just worried sick. You're not answering her texts. She's afraid you've, well, you know, that you're depressed or something. She's just so caring. I'm fine, Beth, just busy. Well, that's the other thing, Beth said, her voice turning practical. She's been so distraught, but she realized she left her Vitamix, the $800 one, and her aromatherapy diffuser. She needs them for her work, Arthur. She was wondering if she could just pop by and get them? This was the test, the pop by. I'm not home, I lied, and my assistant Nancy is at the shop. Corinne knows the process. She can email Nancy a list of any remaining items. Nancy will box them up, and Corinne can retrieve them from the shop's front desk. I don't want her coming to the house. Beth was audibly offended. The shop? Like some package pickup? Arthur, that's so impersonal. She just wants to see you to make sure you're okay. You said she wanted the juicer, I replied, my voice flat. The juicer will be at the shop. That's the offer. Is there anything else? This right here, Beth said, her voice rising. This is why she left. This coldness. You're being deliberately cruel. I'm being efficient, Beth, I said. She wanted to leave. She left. Now she wants her juicer. She can get her juicer. It's very simple. Have a good day. I hung up. My hand was shaking. Just a little. Not from sadness, from anger. The absolute galling nerve. To call me cold for not wanting to be manipulated by an $800 juicer. I went to dinner with Camila that night. We went to a quiet Italian place. I told her the story. She took a sip of her wine and smiled, a real, crinkly-eyed smile. An $800 juicer. Sounds like it makes very expensive, high-maintenance juice. I laughed. A real, out-loud laugh. It felt rusty. You know, she said, my husband Frank used to say that the people who demand fireworks all the time are usually the ones who are terrified of the dark. They don't know how to just sit in the quiet. I looked at this woman with her kind eyes and her capable ink-stained hands, and I felt warm. Update 2. It's been 2.5 months. The juicer and the diffuser were picked up by Beth from my shop. Nancy handled it. She told me Beth looked sour. Good. My friendship with Camila has been nice. We've been working on the historical ledgers. We've been having dinners. We went to a museum exhibit on printmaking. It's slow. It's respectful. It feels right. Then, the locket incident. Last Friday, 7 p.m. My intercom buzzes. I pick it up. Arthur, it's me. Please, open the gate. It was Corinne. Her voice was thin, panicky. I stood in my kitchen, holding the receiver. Corinne, you can't be here. You know that. We have nothing to discuss. No, please, she said, and now I could hear she was crying. I left something incredibly important. I can't believe I forgot it. I've been a wreck. I sighed. What is it, Corinne? It's my grandmother's locket, the silver one. I think it fell off in the guest room. Arthur, please, it's all I have left of her. I have to find it. My blood ran, cold. This was a classic manipulation. A locket I'd never seen, never heard of. An excuse to get inside, to see me, to restart the drama. I've had the house cleaned top to bottom since you left, Corinne. There was no locket. You don't know what it looks like, she wailed. Your cleaner would have just thrown it out. Please, Arthur, I'm begging you. You're so heartless. Are you really going to keep me from my dead grandmother's locket? The neighbors have intercoms. They could hear this. She was performing. I will have my assistant, Nancy, do one more thorough search of the guest room tomorrow, I said, my voice like stone. If she finds anything resembling a locket, I will have it mailed to your friend Beth's address. No, I need to look for it myself. You wouldn't know where to look. You don't understand. This was the play. Get her foot in the door. The distraught woman routine. No, Corinne, I said final. You are not coming into this house. Ever again. Nancy will look. That is all. The shift was instant. The crying stopped. Her voice turned to acid. You bastard. You cold, selfish bastard. You probably stole it, or threw it away just to hurt me. You You just want to be alone, alone with your dead wife in your morbid house. She was screaming it into the call box. Screaming it at my neighbors. I just pressed the disconnect button. I stood in the silence. My heart was pounding, not with passion, with a pure, clarifying rage. To use Eleanor, to use grief as a weapon. I called Nancy at home. I hated to, but I had to. Nancy, I am so sorry to bother you. Corinne was just at my gate, hysterical, claiming she left a locket. I know it's a lie. But could you possibly stop by tomorrow and do a final sweep of the guest room she used? Just to be sure. Nancy, thank God for Nancy, just said, "Of course, Arthur." 10 a.m. She called me the next day at 10:15. "Arthur," she said. Her voice was strange. "No locket, I assume?" "No locket," Nancy confirmed. "But Arthur, I went to check behind that awful orange painting she hung in the guest room, just in case it, fell behind it. And it's not the only thing that's gone. Arthur, where is Eleanor's small landscape, the one that's supposed to be by the window in the study?" I froze. I hadn't been in the study in a week. I walked down the hall while still on the phone. I stood in the doorway. The wall by the window was empty. Just a small blank space. A single picture hook. It's gone," I whispered. "That's what I thought," Nancy said, her voice grim. "Because that awful orange painting in the guest room? I recognized the frame. She painted over it, Arthur. She took Eleanor's painting, and she painted her own orange garbage right over the top of it." I hung up the phone. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. The coldness Corinne had always accused me of, it settled over me. But it wasn't a lack of feeling, it was a focusing of it. It was a razor's edge. She hadn't just insulted my wife's memory. She hadn't just called it morbid. She had destroyed it. For passion. I picked up my phone. I didn't call her. I didn't call Beth. I called my lawyer. "David," I said, "I need to file a police report for destruction of property and theft. I have a valuation for the piece. It's valued at $15,000. Then I called the police. Final update. It's been about 5 months since the breakup. 4 months since the locket incident. This isn't a movie. This is real life. The police don't launch a SWAT team for a destroyed painting, even a valued one. But they do take reports, and a report for theft and vandalism is a serious, permanent thing. A detective paid Corinne a visit. He found her not at Beth's, who, it turns out, kicked her out after the screaming at the intercom incident, but at a temporary rental, subletting a room from a 25-year-old guy she'd met at one of her vibrational workshops. According to my lawyer who got the report, Corinne's story was something. First, she claimed the locket was still in the house. A lie. Then she claimed she didn't know what painting the detective was talking about. A lie. Finally, when he pressed her on the orange abstract, she went with "it was a gift" wrote. I was improving it for him, she'd claimed. It was so dull. I was adding passion. It was a surprise. The detective, who was probably a 50-year-old guy with a mortgage and zero patience for vibrational art, was not impressed. "Ma'am, you painted over another artist's work which you took from his home without permission. That's theft and that's vandalism." The surprise didn't hold up, especially when my lawyer sent over the string of "I'm worried about you" texts, followed by the locket performance. It painted a picture of a very unstable, manipulative person. She was charged, not with a major felony, but with theft and destruction of property. A misdemeanor, but a nasty one. It's on her record. Forever. Her life coach business, from what Nancy has gleaned, Nancy knows everything, is dead. The wellness community is small and gossipy. A charge for stealing and destroying your grieving older boyfriend's dead wife's painting? That is not a good look. It's not high vibration. The guy she was subletting from kicked her out. My lawyer settled with hers. She had to pay for the valuation of the painting, $15,000, in a structured settlement, garnished from, well, whatever job she can get now. I never got the painting back. It's gone. That's a cold, hard fact. A piece of Eleanor is gone forever because of her. Which brings me to last night. I hosted a small party at my house. The first one since before Corinne. It was to celebrate the completion of the Historical Society project. A few board members, the head librarian, Nancy and her husband, and Camila. Camila and I were a we. It's quiet, it's solid, it's warm. She's been a miracle. She understood what the loss of the painting meant. She didn't try to fix it. She just sat with me in the quiet. The house was full of light and chatter and good wine. The doorbell rang. I went to answer it. And there, on my doorstep, was Corinne. I hadn't seen her in months. She looked rough, thin, the vibrancy was gone. She was wearing cheap-looking clothes, but she'd put on makeup. She'd tried. When she saw me, she burst into tears. Real ugly, snotty tears. "Arthur," she sobbed, I'm so sorry. I miss you. I made a terrible mistake. I was a fool." She'd been texting me for a week. "I'm in therapy. I've changed. I know what warmth is now. It's you. Please, just let me talk to you." I'd ignored every single one. Now, here she was. She must have waited at the gate and slipped in when another guest arrived. "Corinne," I said. My voice wasn't angry. It wasn't cold. It was just empty. "This is not a good time. You need to leave." "No, please," she said, and she did the one thing I couldn't have predicted. She grabbed my arm. "Please, Arthur. I know you're still hurting. I know you're still cold. But I can make it right. I can warm you up again. I know I can. I've changed." Her performance was desperate and loud. Just then, Camila walked up from behind me. She'd seen the tension from the foyer. She didn't say anything. She just slipped her hand into my free one, a simple, anchoring gesture. "Arthur, darling," she said, her voice calm and warm. "Is everything all right? Mrs. Henderson is asking you about the binding on the Dickens." Corinne's head snapped up. Her eyes darted from Camila's face, down to our joined hands, and then back to my face. Her mouth, which had been open in a sob, just froze. Her smile, her desperate crying, pleading, just fade. It died, instantly. "Oh," Corinne whispered. Her voice was flat. All the performance, all the passion, just gone. I turned slightly, bringing Camila forward, our hands still linked. "Corinne," I said, my voice perfectly level. "I don't believe you've been formally introduced. This is Camila. She's the person who taught me how to feel again." And I looked at Camila, and I smiled. A real warm smile. A smile Corinne had tried to force out of me for 2 years and had never once earned. Corinne just stared. This wasn't the script. The script was that I was supposed to be the lonely, cold old widower, pining for her, finally broken and ready to be warmed up by her magnificent passion. She saw, over my shoulder, the living room. It was filled with people, laughing, talking, and then she saw the fireplace. Where Eleanor's painting used to be, there was a new one. It was one of Camila's early pieces, a beautiful, vibrant oil painting of the coast. A gift. It was full of light, full of warmth. Corinne's face crumpled, but this time it wasn't a performance. It was real. It was the face of someone who finally understood what she had lost. Not the house, not the money. She had lost the warmth. I see," she stammered. I should go." "Yes," I said. I didn't hate her. I didn't feel anything for her. "You should." She turned and walked down the path, out the gate and into the cold she'd been so afraid of. Camila squeezed my hand. "You okay?" "I am," I said, and I meant it. I closed the door and went back to my party.